Hello, Booktube. I'm back with a tag. I saw this on Steve Donahue's channel. It is the Reading Retrospective tag, so I'll be looking at my monitor, which is just here on my laptop, to read the questions. It was originally created by Pauline from Dancing Lawn, and as I say, I saw it on Steve Donahue's. He sort of indirectly tagged me because he said he tagged others for a previous one, which was me, among many others, so I took that up. I've struggled with a few of the questions, I'll explain as I go along. Question 1. Which book you read this year would you recommend to anyone, and why? I've really struggled with that because the stuff that I read is not for everyone. Even the sort of fun stuff I read, the crime fiction, mysteries is not for everyone. The essays that I read is not for everyone. Even the more popular ones, the more general ones, or even the academic ones, they're not for everyone. Book history, not for everyone. 19th century French fiction literature, not for everyone. So I can't think of anything that I've read this year that I would recommend to everyone. So I can't really answer that question. And which book you read this year has taught you something new? Well, almost everything I read does that, especially the nonfiction, even the essays, especially if they're more of the academic essays. In book history, I learned something new. The biographies that I read of Thomas Carlyle, they taught me something new. Reading his letters teaches me something new every time I go in there. There isn't one book that I would say that stands out this year that taught me something new. Almost everything I read does. Number 3, which book you read this year came just at the right time when you needed it? I should have grabbed it off the shelf. It's a science fiction book. It's going back to an author that I used to read a lot of and like, James P. Hogan. I didn't think it was one of his better books, but it sort of came at the right time. It's like, I really do want to get back into reading science fiction. And sort of, I think what I'm going to do is get back to the sort of familiar stuff that I know, which is mostly going to be Golden Age science fiction, and just sort of dip my toe in a little bit. And I have that and I've droned on about it. The first 4 volumes of 4 volumes of Clifford Simak's short stories. So I'm dipping my toe back in with that, and that I think came at the right time because I wanted something else, and I realized that I am missing reading science fiction and the wonder it gives. Let me see, which book you read this year will stay with you for a long time? And this is something else I've spoken about quite a bit, is Gustave Flaubert's Bouvier and Pouchet. It's basically about these two aging clerks that sort of retire early-ish into the country because one of them, Bouvier, I think, gets an inheritance, and they just sort of set up house and they just pursue whatever they want. They start reading, and they do gardening. Then they do it's a bit of a farce because they're a bit hapless and clueless. But it's going to stick with me because it's like, that would be so nice to be able to just pick up and leave and just pursue for the rest of your life, for however many years you've got left, things that really, really you enjoy, and don't have any other cares in the world, and sort of screw everybody else. If they think you're stupid in doing that, well, too bad. It's their loss. And that's I think is going to stick with me for a little while, because I'm going to actually also continue to read more Flaubert also. which book, this is number 5 now, which book you read this year expanded your reading horizons? New genre, author, theme, style, or format? I'm not sure. Well, it's not something particularly new, but I've had it on my shelf for quite a while, and I pulled it out a while ago, and I to show why, I forget what reason I was showing it. Oh, I think it was like something you wouldn't expect to see on my bookshelves from what I've shown before, and that's The Complete Peanuts Volume 1. And it is just literally just the comic strips from 1950 to 1952, and I've just loved sitting here going through these, like when I got a few minutes, just to sort of scan through, or when I was waiting on hold on phone for someone, and so I just sort of skipped through, or just a few minutes here or there, and I've really enjoyed that, and I do want to get more of these and actually read them all eventually. So that's something sort of new, or reacquainting new, something for me. And as I say, and I learned something from this as well. It's like how to be just a child again in many ways, and the simplicity of, a little story in a few words, and in like 4. It's a panel 4. Generally, it's generally panel 4, 3, or sometimes 2, and there's hardly any words sometimes, but it makes perfect sense. And actually, I could probably, this one might do for number 1 as well. So no, I'll backtrack and say I use this as a recommendation to anyone as well, to sort of reignite your inner child. Number 6. Which bookish things did you particularly enjoy doing, purchasing, using this year? And I think just the creation in late January, of the Booktube channel. I've really enjoyed that. I've really enjoyed making the videos, thinking about, like doing the book tags, and thinking about my reading, and my book collection, and the interaction as well with other booktubers has been fantastic. So that would be the main thing. Other books, I've gotten other great books, which is fantastic. But I think that would be the main thing. Number 6. No, that was number 6. Who are some booktubers, subscribers, or other bookish friends that you got to know better this year through watching, comments, personal contact online, or real life, or otherwise? I haven't met anybody off the Booktube here in real life because, it's definitely not going to happen in a little while. But there are a number that I have enjoyed. So this will sort of be combined with the next question, because what booktube videos did you particularly enjoy this year? It's partial that, but the booktubers that I particularly enjoy is Mark Richardson Reads, and because his background is sort of similar to mine. Like he's done archaeology and then moved on, but he's a librarian, and I'm not. I'm not even close to that. But he's got a nice collection, and I'm always interested to see what he picks up and what he is reading. I really enjoy following that. So that's been very good. Byways in Bookland, very much similar for the books and the subject matter, and is Byways in Bookland, Jason Harrigan, and the other subjects that he shows, like the esoterica, the occult type material, which I'm interested in, but I hardly have anything, so it's really nice to see some of this stuff and new things, and the ephemera that he does as well. That's been really enjoyable. Um, see, John David, he reads stuff that's sort of interesting as well to me, and it's I do find interesting to hear his comments on books, because there's some of the authors that he's dealt with that I really, really like, and it's interesting to see his take on it, and and showing some books that I want to read, and I've been holding off, and then he'll show up the perfect edition, and The Dance to the Music of Time by Anthony Powell is a perfect example, and that was a beautiful edition, even though paperback. And then two others. There's Steve Donahue as well. I enjoy watching the new books that come out that he has, and the Penguin series he's doing. And Steve, I don't always agree with you, and I never will, but it's enjoyable. And you don't have to agree with everybody that you watch. I can have an argument either with the screen or with them in the comments if I choose to. So that's great. Two others, the very two last ones, are more younger. They've been on Booktube longer than I have, but I mean younger in age. Is Amy at the Dusty Bookshelf. I particularly like her videos because she doesn't fall in with just the young adult stuff. She is willing to discover anything new, pull something down off the shelf. This is the impression I get, and if it tweaks her interest, she'll buy it if it's cheap enough, as anybody would, and read it and discover something totally new. And I enjoy watching people discover things in books. There's two areas that I really enjoy watching people discover new things: is books, stuff that I've already known, that have been around, and even way before me, I would have, discovered them when I was young, and there were people my age or older that was, that's been around for a long time. Yeah, but it's new to me. And I always found it fun and enjoyable to watch people's reactions of discovering new old stuff. And I find that as well, as I said, two things. And the other thing is with silent film. I enjoy people discovering silent film as well, and discovering a film that I really like or that's a masterpiece, and just gushing over it. And it's totally new to them, even though it's 100 years or more old. And the same with the books. It's something that could be hundreds and hundreds of years old, but it's brand new. It's brand new. And it's that first flush of excitement for something new like that. And very similar with David Murphy, as another younger YouTuber, but into economics and just the mathematics, and it just does my head in. But no, and it's just funny that even though we're several generations, possibly, or at least 1.5 generations apart, his sort of interest in history reading started very similar to mine through a singer, country singer, Johnny Horton, which I found just really odd and fantastic. That has happened. So, and also too, it says I'm not opposed to economics and stuff like that, but it's I guess it's the doing of it, I guess, is the thing that really gets to me. But the history of and the history of thought that he's interested in as well is great, and he's also interested in just older literature, the classics, and he's discovering those as like Amy is too. It's always new to him, and it's like anyone. If you haven't discovered it before, it's new, and there's always that surge. At least for me, it's that surge and joy of discovering something new to myself. So that's that, and the number 8 is what Booktube videos did you particularly enjoy this year? Steve listed specific ones. I sort of can't. The type of ones that I enjoy, it sort of comes back to what I just answered for the other one, is people discovering something new that's old. The book hauls, whether it be mail or purchasing in a bookshop, or however they get the books. I enjoy seeing what they've picked up, what they were interested in. And there might be something, as oftentimes, oh, I didn't know about that. Oh, yes, I remember that, and, mark down on a list. Shelf tours as well that I enjoy, because I'm really interested to see what other people are interested in reading and why. So that sort of combines. So I'm not going to give any specific videos, but it's just in general the discovery of new authors, books, and the joy that I see from other booktubers, the book hauls, and the shelf tours. And that's number 8. I think there's one more question. Did you discover a new all-time favorite book? Not this year so far. It seems like I missed something. Yeah, no, I haven't discovered something new this year. I thought I'd missed a question. Oh, okay. I did have another book here that I was going to. It's just a book that expanded your. So I'll back up a little bit. Expanded. That you learned something. And here's an example of something that I learned a lot by reading the essays in here, and I'm not even finished yet. I'm 2/3 of the way through. It's Romanticism in Blackwood's Magazine, an Unprecedented Phenomena, edited by Robert Morrison and Daniel S. Roberts. It's part of the Palgrave Studies in the Enlightenment of Romanticism in Cultures of Print. The series editors of that is Ann K. Meller and Clifton Siskin. And this is Palgrave, published in 2013. And yeah, I learned a lot. Blackwood's in a periodical press, beginning of Blackwood's, just how it came about, the rivalry between the authors, and rivalry between Edinburgh and London, and yeah, all that kind of stuff is. I learned either something new or it expanded on what I know through these essays. So that's a perfect example. But again, it's not something that I can recommend to everyone. So anyway, thanks for tagging me, Steve, or indirectly tagging me. So I will leave it there. And I do have a shelf tour, the last of the folios, and an essay that's done that will go up later today. But have a good afternoon, Booktube, and enjoy your reading. Bye.